Welcome everyone. My name's Tracy, if you don't know me yet. And really today, the theme about updates, upgrades, and uploads. You want to look up to God, get up, and don't ever give up. Because it's not how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you get back up and keep moving forward. Because winners never quit and quitters never win. And you, how many of you guys are humanitarians? Many of you are humanitarians, right? You came here because you know that you have work that is going to require you to sharpen your skills, strengthen your bodies, and hone your discernment by going within, by listening to that inner guidance system that's always right. And you get to choose your path because you are creators of your own universe. I mean, some people believe in law of attraction and some people don't. I'm a big believer in law of attraction. I pretty much bet you are too. It's like my son said, oh, I don't believe in that law of attraction stuff. I said, it doesn't matter if you believe in it or not. It's still there, just like gravity. You don't have to believe in gravity or not to know that if you jump off a building, chances are you're going to fall to the ground until we learn how to fly. That's going to be one of my superpowers for sure. So, but the law of attraction says that you must focus on what you want to create in your life, not the absence of it. And when you catch yourself in any type of a doubtful spot, you must pivot and say, but of course I really want that. So, but is this always easy? Of course it's not. Sometimes we get stuck in the mud. And that's what's so cool about our friends at QHS, about Vibe Tribe, is we're going to pull you out of the mud. Okay, we are here to support each other. Yes, as Rocky said, the world is a tough place, but here it's not. It's full of love. It is full of support, and it's a safe place to be who you are. So right now, the world that we live in, it has this duality nature, right? Up, down, on, off, high, low, right, left, top, bottom, light, dark. And so today, because we're talking about up, the opposite is down. So when you get down, we want to get back up. Okay. So John Maxwell wrote the great book about failing forward. So you get to pick your own direction in your life. Do you want to stay knocked down on the ground, or do you want to get back up and keep moving forward, keeping your eye on the prize? Because this is a real thing. Like when a race car driver is being trained to drive, I have a friend who's a race car driver, believe it or not, and he says, you want to keep your eye on the track. If you look at the wall, your car is going to go into the wall. And I'm a mountain biker, and it's the same thing with the path, because we got to keep our eye on the path, not on the cliff, not on the rocks and the boulders and the snakes or whatever else. Keep your eye on a clear path, because that's the way your wheel is going to go. Okay. So we talked about updates, upgrades, and uploads. So updates are meaning that is to make something more modern or suitable for use by either adding new information or changing its design. Upgrades are to improve the quality or usefulness of something or change it for something newer or of better standard. And uploads are to copy or move programs or information to a larger system. So how do these apply to you? Well, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Our inner spirit, our inner knowing, or perhaps you call it intuition, always has our back. But that inner critic, that's always telling us we're not good enough, or that inner ego that is thinking we're too good for our own britches, or that inner child, the brat who always wants what she wants when she wants it, they can create this worldly sense of confusion for our human mind. But our intuition, our faith, our inner voice is always the one who wins, and it always has our back. So if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And if you know something that you want to attract, but it doesn't come to you right away, it can either mean that something better is on the way, because God knows better than we know what's best for us, or it could be not yet. It's not a no, but just not a not yet. Perhaps we have to fertilize our soil before we can actually reap and grow and become what we want. So let's first start with updates. So Cynthia always comes on calls to update the members, and she shares as much as she is able to or allowed to. That's a big allowed. And then Dr. A is continuously updating our QT Wave, updating our devices, coming on calls to update the members. And members, you guys are so marvelous at updating each other in the breakout rooms about the improvements you are experiencing with the QT Wave. And the coolest thing about that is people, even without a device, have experienced healing thanks to you. You are doing a remarkable job, and we thank you for that. And you are also opening the eyes of members of what's possible, because perhaps they haven't even thought about that. And then they go, oh yeah, I forgot. Like for me, you guys reminded me that my eyes improved. I thought my eyes were getting worse because my reading glasses weren't working. And so I decided to go to the eye doctor. They were getting better. I don't need reading glasses anymore. Pretty cool, right? So the other thing is, when I get really lucky, you guys book a Zoom meeting with me for your one-on-one. So if you haven't done that, please do that. It's just like the highlight of my day, and I love talking to you members. So all of these stories are a benefit for the collective, for the consciousness, for the hope of this entire QHS organization, because without hope, we have nothing. So that hope is always moving us forward. And that's why I loved this song that I shared with you today, because it actually gives us hope. We just need to keep moving forward. So how are you adding new information to your life? How are you making these updates in your life? Because if you're not growing, you're dying. Energy is not stagnant, right? It's either getting better in one direction or it's getting worse in another. And so I want to implore you to grow, learn new things, and think outside the box. So there's two simple ways you can do this. One is to read nonfiction on a variety of topics, whatever interests you. If you were to just read 10 pages each day, you will have read about a book a month or 12 books a year. That is a lot of growth. Another thing you can do is listen to podcasts. You know, podcasts of any topic are so informative. I used to have a podcast, and we would talk about a huge variety of things, all things health related. The other is, when you get an update, are you using your discernment? Are you tapping into your inner knowing? Because that will help you be able to absorb if this is true for you or not. You know, sometimes when a doctor gives someone a diagnosis, they can say, well, that's not true for me. There's a story, it's a true story, that a doctor had mixed up files in his office, and he told one guy that had no cancer that he had cancer, was terminal, and the other guy with cancer, he said, you're fine, you're cancer free. Well, the guy who had no cancer that thought he was terminal ended up dying, and the guy who was actually terminal ended up thriving. So your belief systems, your inner knowing, you're creating your own reality is a viable, truthful reality. Okay. And since you are the creator and you create this reality, are you letting in only that which serves you and blocking out the rest? So one fun way to do that is, in the morning, is you ground yourself, and then you go like this, zoop, zoop, and you create a shield, a force barrier, so that you don't let any energy that you don't allow in come in. And that's the technical term, you know, that zoop. So you can use that. I read that in a book somewhere. So you are all responsible for receiving the updates that support your journey, because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So you need a thirsty horse. And so, are you a thirsty horse? Are you thirsty for wisdom? Are you thirsty for applying that wisdom to make your life better? Because you're the only one that's responsible for the things you do. Nobody can tell you what to do. Trust me, I have a husband. I've tried to tell him what to do for 34 years, and he does not like it. He does not listen very well. So next we're talking upgrades. So QHS has loads of upgrades. We have V9 and V10 coming out, or the new design for the HHS. We are also offering all these new programs designed to help you get better. So of course you have this beloved Vibe Tribe, but what other programs have you experienced? They're all here for a reason. So they're either going to improve your life physically, mentally, spiritually, or all of the ways, okay? And every meeting you attend, there are HHS systems running on the background so that you experience the profound quantum twine wave at every one. That's why these meditations are so popular and so powerful, because everything about QHS is here to help you improve your life. And you are going to need life changes and skills, because post QARC, you're going to be rolling up your sleeves and getting busy. And these life changes help support the QT wave that we already love and enjoy. So how will you upgrade your life? Because remember, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you have been getting. And about 20 years ago, when my son, my eldest, went to prepare for his first degree black belt, he had to read and memorize these quotes from the book of Zen, which really, truly, you guys, I recommend that book. It is so great. So being the good mom that I was, I memorized them all with him. And many are about the law of attraction, like thoughts become things. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right. I actually think Henry Ford said that or something. Anyway, I digress. But QHS is always upgrading things for you members. And we have even more things that haven't even been announced yet that are coming. So again, I'm going to ask you, how are you upgrading your life each day? Each week? Are you adding in new healthy habits or practices, recipes, whatever it is? But if you just did one thing to upgrade your life, you're going to come out ahead. And last, I'm going to talk about uploads. So I like to look at this in a spiritual sense. Like, what is God uploading into my life? Some people call it downloads, which I don't really understand. I feel like it's more of an upload. And what experience are you getting in your sense of knowing? You know, we pray. Many of us pray daily, and we have gratitude, which I think is super important. And are we taking the time to listen to the answers to our prayers? So on Saturday, my husband and I went to a wedding on Friday night. We spent the night, and when he was sleeping, I decided to go take a walk. I love walking. And I went down to the wharf and the beach, and I just walked for an hour and a half in silence. And that's when I get all my uploads, because I listen to the wisdom that God wants me to know and understand. What do you call it? Kind of a wiggle worm. I have a really hard time just sitting and meditating. So I do moving meditation pretty much every day. And God is constantly uploading things into my subconscious. And it is time for us all to listen and see what we receive. Having a journal is really helpful, because sometimes you think, oh, that's a great idea. I used to help Ron a lot with LWS, and I would say, oh, I have a great idea. And he would say, was that your idea, or did God give you that idea? So I think that it's important to know from the voice of God, because why did he give us 2 ears and 1 mouth? So we listen more than we talk. So are you listening for God's uploads into your mind each and every day? Or are you counting on human words via Telegram chats, or even worse, CNN? So you must remove anything that blocks your dreams and goals from your mind so it doesn't fester, right? The enemy doesn't want you to have success, right? So we need to stay connected. So in Galatians, Paul says a little yeast works through the whole batch of dough. He is actually referring to just that little bit of yeast. You know, it could be a little bit of hypocrisy, lies, or falsehood that can sneak into an entire church, organization, or family and ruin it. And many of us saw that firsthand with COVID. So tap into your inner knowing and listen to those uploads. Before writing this, serious, I asked God to put words in my mouth. And I always say, God, please give me the wisdom to understand and the understanding so that I can know what you have for me. So let God give you wisdom, not man. And when you are hearing something, you can ask if this is true. And I have a good friend who has a sticky pad that helps her discern whether things are true or not. And I have another friend who does kinesiology and another that uses a pendulum. And Cynthia even gets these feelings in her body for things that are true or untrue. So in conclusion, look up to God for your answers. Get up every time you fall down and keep moving forward toward your dreams. Don't ever give up, because remember, winners never quit and quitters never win. So the burning question for today is, because we have all these upgrades coming into our life, what do you want to create for your life? Where do you see yourself a year from now? Because you will have this healthy, vibrant, beautiful young body.